All right, let's start this off, y'all.
Equity, transparency, accountability. If you're like me, you don't have time for any of that shit. That's why I invented Reach Around. Nothing short of a stroke of genius, Reach Around handles the hard part for you. Discrimination complaints? Reach Around. Paternity leave requests? Reach around that shit too. Freedom of information requests? Reach the fuck around, bro. Our antisocial intelligence plays the role of the stonewalling lackey, telling bothersome plebes to fuck off in the nicest way possible, so you can stay focused on what matters, getting your rocks off. It's only $9.99.99 billed bi-fortnightly. Sign up today and get a free hooker for life. Try not to kill her, but if you do, we'll be there for you, bro. Reach around. Fuck everything.
Welcome to the Broke Otaku Podcast. I'm your host, AJ. With me is Marcus, a.k.a. Whoop. There it isn't.
Nope, it's not there. I'm not
Yeah,
here.
It's
Nothing's
not here.
there. You're all gone.
Go elsewhere for your whoop. Because it's not here tonight.
Nope.
And
Fresh out of
Alan,
womb.
a.k.a. that time I got reincarnated as my son's daughter's ex-pastor. Kinda
Son's
messed that up.
daughter's ex-pastor.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I read that, I was like, son's daughter. So your granddaughter.
Yep, my granddaughter's ex-pastor.
I don't know why
got
you said son's daughter.
Son's daughters.
Marcus, defend yourself.
It's goofy. This is a dumb bit we do. It's not supposed to make sense.
Whoa,
You know
whoa.
what, Marcus?
Let's keep our secrets secret, Marcus.
on.
Don't you're gonna reveal the whole shit.
Yeah, nobody listening to this podcast thought that was a bit. They were all like, this is real serious talk. They were all like, I got to take notes because this is going to be on the final exam. They were like, I'm going to make this the subject of my dissertation.
I had a whole thing I was about to do, and then you went and blew the lid off of it.
I didn't blow
You
the
opened
lid off of anything. AJ was
Pandora's
the one
box, man.
AJ keeps talking over our introductions, and he's the one
It's
ruining
raining.
everything.
It's raining snakes now because of you.
I don't talk over them. I talk in them because I do them.
I speak into them.
At any rate, whatever.
the
At any
children
rate,
that
is
I-
there any situation? Just answer me this question: is there any situation in which your son's daughter is not your granddaughter? Probably. I don't know. Like biologically, yes, that happens
biologically, yes.
a lot. But otherwise,
No, I don't think that's possible.
unless you spiritually disown them. In which case,
Doesn't matter. There's still the blood.
What
Spiritual
if?
blood, though?
Yeah, I guess through blood that doesn't make sense. I guess only there could be technicalities with adoption, but
Blood's thicker than spurts.
did you say spurts?
Spurts.
spirits.
No,
You might want to clarify what you're saying there.
Spurts.
I thought you said something else.
Don't repeat it.
And then I would say,
I see
is
now.
it? Is it?
It's not.
I get there's a viscosity.
No,
Let's
stop.
do our
Meter?
game.
I'm
That
gonna have a
people
game
use
right
to
there.
measure
What's
the thickness
game?
of maple
I found
syrup.
out today. I found
You
out
could
today,
apply
as
the
long as-
same to bodily fluids.
What
I'll
do you
stop
say?
there.
Did you just say maple syrup?
Yes. If
Stop
you're
it.
measuring the viscosity, is that
I
the
don't
word?
know. There's an animal that when it produces does 1,000 milliliters at a time.
Is that a pig?
Yeah, some kind of pig. You saw
Really?
it too. I
Is it really?
imagine.
No. Well, I read that a pig can. Its climax is
Let's
30
say it
minutes or
Why
more.
the fuck are we talking about this?
Because it's interesting and inquiring minds want to know. And that's
No
what you
minds
get.
want to know.
As the second worst anime-based podcast on the internet, we
There's
need to
nowhere-
provide value for our listeners,
There's
and we do
nowhere
that
we
through
won't go.
education.
We need to be fearless.
Speaking of education, I have a game
Don't fear the boar sperm.
where
Can't
you
hurt you.
guys have to tell me whether it's Jijitsu, true, or Itsuwari, untrue.
Do I need to say those words every time? Because it's going to be hard.
Yes.
So
you
jujutsu
say
means true? Is that...
Jijitsu?
Spell it.
I will message it to you. That way I don't have to spell it.
I mean...
That's not easier, but okay.
Well, now you can read it perpetually.
It's so not easier.
How's that not easier? Now
I'm
you
just
don't
gonna
have
write
to
it down when
remember
you say
it.
it to me, and then everyone at home will know too. Now it's all secrety.
I don't know the
Moses.
kanji or the whatever.
I'm not
but
telling you. I'm not asking you to spell the kanji, dum dum.
Use the Roman alphabet character.
Basically, what you did with your fingers is what I wanted you to do with your mouth. Gay, but anyway.
Pause. Title of your sex.
What? Please don't ever say those words in that order again. Thank you.
You basically spelled it on the keyboard, but then sent it through a thing that made us
Yeah, I
have
know
to
what you meant.
go
but
over a
that's not
tab.
what I.
Well, you could have just. Anyway, I'm stopping. I'm stopping right now.
Jijitsu is true. Jijitsu. Itsuwari is untrue.
Swari,
I'm sorry. Itsuwari. There you go. And this is the Yasuke edition. So I've taken facts directly from the source of all truth, Wikipedia,
Yes.
and I've turned them into either Jijitsu or Itsuwari. And you have to tell me which is which based on the fact that I read. Sounds good? So I'll read you a fact. You tell me true or false.
Are we taking turns or are we both guessing for each one?
Yes, we are taking turns.
Okay.
So the first will be, it doesn't really matter. I'll go with Alan because he's not paying attention. Yasuke
Always
arrived in Japan in 1579 in service of the Italian Jesuit missionary Alessandro Valignano. Jijitsu or Itsuwari?
Itsuwari. No, I'm going to say Jijitsu.
Jijitsu!
Jijitsu!
He was brought in service to Valignano, but he was gifted to Nobunaga after Nobunaga showed an interest. I don't know if it was a gay interest or not, but
I was just going to say, was it sexual?
It wasn't.
I don't know. It was not
Did
written.
he have jungle fever?
That is
Gay jungle
that's
fever?
probably not something you say these days.
I was thinking that as I like, is that something
don't-
you're not allowed to say anymore?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. I would not
I
go
just
around
think-
saying that very often.
It's just not a thing that people would say. It's not.
Maybe like
It's
in the
not really
40s.
that weird anymore.
It's just a anyway.
Yeah. You probably just shouldn't
Next.
say it. Just
Don't say it.
Don't say that.
I'm just going to go back and not say it. I
Okay.
didn't say that just now. Forget I
Just
said it.
put the
Takes
words
his
back in your
backsies.
mouth and leave them there. All right. Next question, or rather statement. Marcus, when Yasuke was presented to Daimyo Oda Nobunaga, he thought his black skin was ink and had him scrubbed.
Jujitsu.
Or Itsuwari?
Hold up. Which one's true? Jujitsu is.
Jujitsu is true.
Jujitsu.
Jujitsu. Wait. Jujitsu! Yes, that is true. But no homo. He only scrubbed him from the waist up, according to Wikipedia. Did not scrub his junk or his ass hairs.
It's okay.
I don't know
if
why
you
they
did.
had to specify that, but
It's okay.
factually, that's what Wikipedia said.
Says a lot about the editor there that they felt like
Yeah.
they needed to include that.
I thought so too. All right, Alan.
Yeah.
Yasuke was given a ceremonial katana by Nobunaga, forged by famed swordsmith Hanzo Hitori.
I'm going to say Itsuwari.
Itsuwari!
Itsuwari!
Despite what you saw in the movie Kill Bill, there is no evidence that Hanzo Hitori was an actual swordsmith, but only a skilled ninja. Marcus, did you know that one?
Yeah.
I thought you would. That's why I gave it to Alan.
Thanks.
Number 4, Yasuke. This is from Marcus. Yasuke wasn't actually that tall.
How tall?
What? That is so
Well,
subjective.
if you watch the show, they refer to him as a giant. I'm saying now that I've said it, I realize kind of the silliness of the question, but it is in reference to the fact that he is tall in the show. And I'm saying, well, no, he actually wasn't that tall.
All right,
True or false? It ain't really like that.
No, all right. I need some. I need some guideposts to go by. So,
Okay.
like, I need to know whether or not, like, you're saying not as tall as he was in the anime, which I mean, I don't
saying
think he
if-
was that extremely tall.
They referred to him as a giant at least a few times.
Right. Okay.
And he was tall as hell.
All right.
He was taller than anybody in the show for the most part.
For sure.
Except for like the
Oh,
beasts.
are we gonna? All right. Are we gonna say if he's over 6 feet, that's tall? That's
Sure.
That would be that tall. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Itsuari.
Itsuari, yes. According to Matsudaira Ietada, the retainer for Ieyasu, Yasuke was 6'2".
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
What do you mean? What's wrong? I didn't think that was that bad of a statement. He actually wasn't that tall. Hey, you know that dude that everyone thinks tall? He's actually not really that tall. That's a normal comment
No,
to make.
to say no,
True
no,
or
no, no.
false?
For a true or false, like basically a test. Like you can't have something that's subjective. That's such a subjective question.
It's not really subjective though. If you
Yes,
you had
it
to watch the
is.
show and realize that he's taller than most Japanese people. Okay, I should have said Yasuke wasn't actually taller than most Japanese people.
The wolf lady, she was tall.
She was
Okay,
robot was tall.
supernatural.
She was super tall.
Okay, we're moving on.
Move on.
Please give me a question that's as good as or better than that.
All right, here you go. Yasuke was present alongside Nobunaga at the Battle of Tenmokuzan. Tenmokuzan. Is that how you say that? I don't know. Who cares? In which the Takeda clan was defeated by the combined forces of Tokugawa Ieyasu and Oda Nobunaga.
Is that the one with all the robots?
Yes. No.
I'm
No.
gonna say Itsuware.
Incorrect. Something, whatever the Japanese were that is Jujitsu. It was said that he, quote, messed their shit up. That was the direct quote. So Yasuke himself said that. Marcus, Yasuke was forced by the army of Akechi Mitsuhide. God dang it. I need to practice
Mitsuhide.
these names. Mitsuhide to commit seppuku alongside Nobunaga.
Hold on, say that again.
Yasuke was forced by the army of Akechi Mitsuhide to commit seppuku alongside Nobunaga.
Swati.
Itsuwari Yasuke was there, but he was not forced to commit seppuku like Nobunaga was. Alan. Yasuke fought alongside the Nobutada, heir to Nobunaga, forces, but eventually went into hiding and became a boatsman.
Jujitsu.
Itsuwari! With the parentheses of probably.
Nani?
While it's unknown what happened to Yasuke after the Nobutada defeat, it's said that he was killed by the warlord Mitsuhide and sent back to the church in which he arrived by in Kyoto. Because he was brought by a Jesuit priest. So they sent him back to the church. Yasuke, Marcus, was the subject of the 1968 children's book Kurosuke, which loosely translates to pitch black.
Wow.
Jujitsu.
Jujitsu, the book by Yoshio Kurusu, won the Japanese Association of Writers for Children prize. I had a question that talked about a book with a title that is similar to the N-word in Japanese, I decided to take that out.
Good job.
It was a fact on Wikipedia if you want to look it up. Written by some super racist Japanese dude. So
This cancel culture's so out of hand, we
If
got
that-
people canceling themselves.
sometimes that's okay. Alan,
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman was slated to play
Boatman?
Yasuke in a feature film before his untimely death to colon cancer in 2020.
I do believe jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu! The film was going to be titled Black Samurai, but was retitled to Yasuke. With Boseman's death, the film was put on hold, but the official website still shows the film as in development. So maybe someday, with somebody who's not Chadwick Boseman. That
R.I.P.
They should do
Would have been an
Mashallah
awesome
Ali.
movie.
That would be dope.
that would be dope
Yeah.
too. Yep, I would watch that.
Though?
Hell yeah, why not?
Hell yeah, why
He
not?
gonna be Blade.
Exactly. Well, see, since he's being Blade, it's hard to.
He
no,
should
I mean, I guess
do
it's not
both. You
hard,
could
but
do both.
Segway.
I guess
Josh
He
Brolin
can
was
have a
in.
sword in more than one movie.
Josh Brolin was Deadpool and Thanos. Well, he wasn't Deadpool. He was Cable in Deadpool 2 and Thanos. So you
True.
can
Ryan,
multitask.
what's his name? Ryan
Well,
Reynolds.
that's
is
in the
everything.
same Marvel universe. I don't think Yasuke is a Marvel character yet.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about being in two big movies or two.
Oh, you can do that?
Two-
I thought it was one and done.
Well, that's what you acting like. He gonna be in Blade. He can't do nothing else with a sword.
I didn't mean that. I was just like, oh yeah, I guess I did mean that. Can't do anything else with a sword. It's Blade Samurai.
It's a step down. It's going to be beneath him after he does Blade. I just remember, like, after Lord of the Rings, Viggo Mortensen did Hidalgo,
Yep.
and I was
That's
just
the
like,
horse movie?
Yes.
yeah, it was just like, that's the fucking King of Gondor, man. How are you going to go from the King of Gondor to riding some horse through the desert?
Well,
You know what you tell your agent? I'm the fucking King of Gondor.
oi, I'm fucking King of Gondor. What the fuck are you doing?
Does he talk like that?
No, he doesn't.
Is he way too awesome?
Oi! He just gets pissed and starts talking like that. Like
I wish I
completely-
legit had that.
a completely different accent.
Every time you get mad, you just speak in this accent.
That would be great.
I got
you
one more
know.
question
All right.
for Alan, I think. No, wait. Well, yeah, no.
I think it's
Marcus.
to Marcus now.
Keep track of your game.
I'm gonna
better.
lose anyway. I think I'm down by
Yeah.
at least 2.
Well, I haven't been keeping track, so.
Well, I haven't gotten anything wrong, so yeah, I'm winning.
The ongoing time travel manga series Nobunaga Concerto by Ayumi Ishii portrays Yasuke as a black basketball player from the present day. I don't know why you're laughing. This is classic Japanese.
what?
I want to say Swati, but
Okay.
something's telling me that it might be Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Is
You
it
gotta pick one.
Jiu-Jitsu?
It's Itsuwari.
Fuck,
But
okay.
it portrays him as a black baseball player,
Okay.
What?
which isn't much better.
I mean, it's
It,
better.
it makes more sense in
It's
Japan,
less-
I guess.
It's less
They
funny.
do play more baseball in Japan.
It is less
I
funny.
think.
It's less funny, but it's better. It's better for I guess stereotypes and such, but it's not as funny for the joke. The
Yes,
fact that it
well.
exists, like if he was a basketball player, that would just be crazy. Like Japan does it again.
Classic Japan. Yeah, I had to put Japan. I had to set the expectation. Baseball player does seem more. That was too obvious. I had to mix it up for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a little bit harder.
They like baseball.
Baseball. That's the game. That's all the facts. You guys, now you got the real story. Yasuke, if you want some more information, do what I did and go to Wikipedia and then click some links from there.
Then you'll be an expert.
You'll be an expert like me and Alan and Marcus. 'Cause
Me,
we
because I
No.
only got one wrong.
Jiu-Jitsu Itsuwari. I don't know.
Say
Anyway.
more Japanese words. It just sounds cool.
Not when I say it. All right. With that, start the transition music.
Boom, chicka, bang, boom, chicka, bang, boom, chicka, bang, boom, boom, bang, boom, bang, bang, boom, bang, 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 bang.
You need that synth wave, 70s style synth music playing.
Y'all done?
I can work with that. Yeah, I'll chop that up into something crispy. Just you wait. Boing. That's some Foley for the track.
I think that's Beavis. Didn't Beavis say that?
Bang.
Bang. I can't do it. Hang on. I lose my tongue up. Bang.
It's pretty good. So we watched Who Wants to Say It?
Yasuke.
I said it.
Yeah, if you couldn't already tell, we watched Yasuke.
Yeah, we did.
So that's what we're going to talk about. I guess I'll take it away.
Chemistry happening here.
Jesus Christ. All right. So if you didn't know, a few weeks ago, Yasuke came out. It's a Netflix original anime by one LaShawn Thomas, who is a black animator that is currently residing in Japan. He moved over to Asia in 2009-ish, I believe, maybe a little bit earlier, to pursue a career in animation, where he first moved to Korea and worked for studios there, and then eventually worked his way to Tokyo, I believe is where he's at now. And yeah, he worked with Mappa Studios to animate this project, and worked with another famous artist stateside, Flying Lotus, to do the music for the show.
It's fucking fresh.
It's really good. I don't even know what would you even call the music in this show, Alan? Because it's not hip hop, it's not jazz. It's some sort of just.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with like what things are called.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to this mix today. It was like hard wave and then something called like phonk, PHONK.
Yeah.
And then something else. I was like, I don't know what any of these mean. I can like describe things. I don't know the proper names for them.
Yeah. How would you describe it?
It's real synthy. It's got a lot of the drums are hip hop influenced. It's got like a drum and bassy kind of feel to it. Sometimes, maybe not. You know more about the drums and the bass.
I'd say more.
Genre.
Yeah, I'd say more hip hop than that. But I mean,
definitely hip hop with the drums. But the synths are kind of like spacey and atmospheric. So it's cool. It's trippy.
Yeah,
it's a good listen. It's very satisfying.
Yeah,
highly recommended.
Very good soundtrack. It was show was kind of anticipated because it was going to be an anime with a black lead character created by a black person collaborating with other black artists and stuff. So that was cool. And I'm real interested to know what you guys thought of it, because the general consensus ain't good. Most people actually did not like it. In fact, I saw a lot of lambasting of the show on YouTube. I didn't get deep into it, but like just perusing on a superficial level of comments, people were just like, yeah, this is not good, disappointed, should have done it better, blah, blah, blah. So anyways.
Did you guys watch Cannon Busters? That was his other show.
I watched the first episode and really wasn't feeling it. However, it had some success, which is the reason why he got this show, was based on the success of Cannon Busters. So enough people liked it. I don't think it was like a blockbuster by any means, but it has a fan base that exists. It wasn't for me though. I just watched that first episode and was like,
yeah,
it's okay. Something different, but whatever.
How did you feel about it, Marcus?
I actually didn't have high expectations for it, so I liked it more than I thought I would. However, I will say that I'm biased because I love the freaking soundtrack. It's so freaking good. And what Flying Lotus did, who I'm a returning fan of Flying Lotus. I was really into him like a decade ago and then kind of fell off. I'm going to start listening to him again because of the soundtrack. But the mood of the show, I think, like the soundtrack worked with it because it's kind of a meandering story, right? You're following Yasuke, who's this samurai who kind of fell from grace a little bit when his daimyo, Oda Nobunaga, the famous, the notorious, depending on the story, when he died, he kind of just became a wandering ronin and then stopped doing the sword thing altogether and just became a boatman in this town, living this quiet life. So he doesn't really do a whole lot by way of growth, I guess, in the story. Like, his most interesting part in this whole show is through flashbacks of like what happened to him when he was serving under Nobunaga, the people that saw him and like was like, you're different, you're not, Nobunaga accepting you isn't in line with like our however many years of tradition of being Japanese and like no foreigners and blah, blah, blah. But Nobunaga was really progressive and he was like, this dude's awesome. So I don't care that he's African. He's going to be one of my retainers. I have a woman retainer because she's like, it's based on merit and not like this old system or whatnot. So it was fun to like learn more about what happened to him through the flashbacks. But the current storyline is he basically finds this girl who has powers and he has to get her to this guy who can teach her how to use her powers, so on and so forth. So it's a lot of back and forth between like getting this girl where she needs to go and helping her out and like kind of, I guess, opening himself up to her little by little. And like, oh, this is what happened in my past. And then throw mechs and magic and like monsters and robots into the mix. It's just this mishmash of stuff that I didn't think was bad. I don't understand all the hate. I guess I can understand it just because if you have expectations for a thing and then it's this weirdo conglomeration of stuff,
Yeah.
I guess you could be upset. But for me, since I didn't have that many expectations, I was like, oh, this is different. The music's really good. I wish the animation was better, but for the most part, I'm enjoying watching the action. Like, I'm enjoying the characters for what they are. So it was a good time. Not great, but I liked it for what it was. What'd you think, Alan?
This is weird for me. I watched 2 episodes and I was kind of like I didn't want to like it. I don't know why. One of our friends in our Slack channel where we talk about anime was like, yeah, the first episode is like mechs and magic and all this stuff like at the same time with like no explanation. And I was just like, oh, really? So I kind of went into it like, ugh, this is going to be whack. And for the most part, like that's how I felt after the first 2 episodes. And then I like took a break and then I listened to the soundtrack a whole bunch for like 2 days. And then I came back to it and I was like, all right, I'm going to try liking this. And I did. So it was like I was in control of the whole thing. Kind of looking back on it now as a whole, it's not perfect. It has flaws. I say this about a lot of things, but I feel like it's good but not great. Yeah, like the other like Netflix anime productions, I feel like there's some issues with like consistency of the quality. But we can get into the details of that. But yeah, overall, I liked it.
Yeah, when you said, Alan, like, I'm not ready for another Castlevania type show after we had come off the last Netflix show that we watched, I guess it was Dota or whatever one we watched that was before this.
Dota, I think, was the last Netflix one we did, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. I was like, I don't want another
Netflix quality anime. Not to say that they're all bad, but they all kind of have this same like approach to both the animation and the quality of it, which is kind of strange, especially ones that are like pseudo American produced. Like Castlevania and Yasuke and Dota feel very similar in the way they kind of play out. But that being said, so like the first couple episodes, I'm like, this show's kind of stupid. And it's got the kind of ridiculous mecha stuff. It's got that bootleg asshole Baymax, that doesn't, I don't know, he's just kind of a goofy robot. Like what's his thing? And just some very strange characters. But after like halfway through, like you get to kind of the first climax of the show, and then it kind of takes a turn and goes in a different direction. It starts to get a little more interesting, I think. So like episode 4, it's, you're kind of invested in, what's going on with him, what's going on with the girl. So things kind of play out a little bit more smoothly, I think. I think it's a little choppy in the beginning. Trying to wrap your head around what's going on, who the characters are, who should I care about, who I don't care about. But then by episode 4, you're like, okay, they've established Yasuke as, a character helping this girl with powers. They're now going to meet, their goal, basically, to meet this doctor who's going to help her. And then you've got your true enemy. You had the first enemy who, came and went. Now you've got kind of the second enemy who's your second real climax, which is concluded basically in episode 5. And then you've got your true enemy in the final episode that gets addressed. So after you've gotten past the kind of exposition and, introductions of the first 2 episodes, third episode wraps up that first enemy. 4th and 5th kind of introduce a new problem. And then the 6th episode kind of wraps it all up. So it moves a little more quickly towards the end, which I thought was more redeeming for it. So starting out, it's a little slow. It's a little kind of all over the place. But by the end, it kind of all comes together, and it feels a lot better, like a lot better of a show. And it kind of brings the beginning episodes together. So if you rewatch it, it makes a little more cohesive sense.
An interesting thing that you said is about the animation quality, inconsistency, all of that stuff. What's so funny about that in this case is that MAPPA was the studio to do it. MAPPA's straight up Japanese anime studio. Like I said, he lives over in Tokyo.
Right.
So like,
which I thought made it weird, but I don't know if it's just like a mental thing for me or what.
No, it is weird because MAPPA is the studio that did Jujutsu Kaisen. They did this latest season of Attack on Titan. They did. There was one other really big thing that they did this past year, and I can't remember what it was. But you like look at those shows, they're like
Did they do Hidoro, or was that?
They might have. I think they did do Doro Hidoro.
I want to say that I looked.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look that up.
I'm looking it up.
But yeah, so that's
my Chromebook sucks.
That's what's strange about it is that the worst episode of any of those shows kind of looks like a standard anime episode, which for stuff that's like really popular these days, like that's not, the animation isn't too bad, even if it's not great. But then when it comes to important action sequences or anything like that, they just like level up and the animation looks super stupid good. So I don't know what the deal was with this, because it did have that feel of a lot of Western productions where it's like, I feel like Western productions either A, don't get as much money, or B, have to pay their animators more. So they don't get like a bunch of like crazy people who are getting paid pennies, but they do the work anyway because that's all they would want to do with life, combined with that Japanese work ethic. So yeah, I don't really know why that happens, but it's something that you typically see from your Castlevanias or Blood of Zeus or whatever else. So to see it here, but this is like almost purely a Japanese endeavor is odd. I don't know. I don't know what the disconnect is there, because I'm like, man, yeah, Mappa's name is on this, but this is not one of their portfolio pieces. Like, it just isn't. Like, I don't know how far either of you got in Jujutsu Kaisen, but even just think about the opening of the show. Like, it's ridiculously animated. It's so freaking good. Where the opening for this was pretty good. It was pretty decent, but I mean, the rest of it, you know, was whatever. And it didn't even have the shining moments that Castlevania does. Because for the most part, Castlevania kind of has a bit mediocre animation. But those last 2 episodes of every season, it seems, they're like, all right, guys, we're actually going to try really, really hard. And they blow it out of the park. So, I don't know. Odd. That is an odd thing.
I don't know a lot about, like, animation development, who's in charge of what, or who decides how things look, but for the most part, I mean, screenplay and produce, they look like American names, so if that's a factor in that kind of stuff, I don't know if it is or not.
No,
then that might be why.
No,
but
it would be the director would play more a part.
Okay. Well, it is directed by LaShawn Thomas, so
so you have director, and then you have key animators, which would be a big part of it too.
Right.
And maybe because it is LaShawn Thomas, while even though he is over there, he is an American. But it's just odd that, I don't know, that him working with that studio would produce such discrepancy in the quality of the animation and stuff. Because it's really weird, because I like the characters, like the character designs and stuff. I like how they look.
Yeah, it's the same gripes that I had with, like, Blood of Zeus. They're not as you know, it's not as bad here, but it's the same thing where, like, individual frames look really good, but it also has this kind of like we grew up watching Fox Kids, like Spider-Man the animated series. Like, it kind of has that feel, like this American animation feel to it. And then when things get moving, and like the action should be like buttery smooth and like super stylish, it just feels like they kind of, I don't know, almost like they rush through it because they don't want it to be. Like, I was just watching one of the sword fights where he, like, fights a bunch of dudes by himself. And it's like, everything's happening fast and he's cutting dudes up. But it's like, I just want more frames. I want to savor it. I want to be able to, like, it just feels like there's not, like they rushed it. And I don't know if it's, like, because it's different studios doing things that kind of end up looking and feeling similar.
Maybe it's a Netflix budget thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like, maybe it's Netflix saying, like, here, this is kind of like what our brand, what we're going for. Like, try to fall, within this range of style. But yeah, again, it's like I said this about Blood of Zeus. Is like the physics. It's the physics that don't feel quite right. Like, things just kind of stutter and move, not quite.
They don't have the oomph. Like, in the hits and in the slices, they just don't
like
land like you want them to.
If you're blocking a sword strike, they don't, like, recoil like realistically. It's just kind of like a jerky, like, motion, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah,
why can't they just do it good?
Yeah, it really does feel like a lack of frames. And the whole Netflix thing, like, I don't like that argument necessarily, because there's a show, which I still haven't watched the second season, and it came out a while ago, but there's a show called Be the Beginning that is a Netflix original, but it's like a purely Japanese effort. And that show is gorgeous. Like, the style of it is gorgeous. It looks like any of the best anime series you've seen. Like, the action is fantastic. The style is good. It just looks like the best of anime that, is on offer. Or whatever. So it's so interesting. Like, I want to know really, really what the deal is. But beyond that, I want to ask you guys, like, your point of view on I guess, some of the critiques that I've heard. So one of the critiques I heard was that people were upset because the show wasn't enough about Yasuke. It was actually about this little girl and her powers. So they were upset about that because they wanted to learn more about him.
I think that's stupid because you get a lot from his past by watching the show. I don't know, like, you have to put the guy in a situation that takes him out of his comfort zone, and the girl is more just a driver for his doing that, and then you get a lot from his background. So I don't know why you're complaining about that. You're stupid. Get off the internet.
Jesus. AJ going hard in the paint.
I'm just kidding. But really, you should get off the internet.
Yeah, I don't. That was kind of how I felt about the first couple episodes when I was like wanting to dislike it. I was like, "Who is this dude? He's not very interesting. I don't really care. He's just like this sad dude now. Like so many protagonists, like, oh, you were a great warrior, and now you're just a drunk or you're depressed or whatever, and we got to bring you back." I wasn't really into that at first, and I guess even by the end of it, like, yeah, he wasn't that interesting. He was cool, and he, there's the tension of like, oh, I gave up that life, but I'm getting pulled back into it. It's like, yeah, he's gonna fight the fight at the end of the day. So I guess I can relate to that criticism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people were more expecting like a historical fiction where obviously in the historical records not much is known about the figure that they called Yasuke. Like pretty much everything AJ read, like that's all anybody really knows from the sources that have been found is just really this guy existed. This guy existed. He served Nobunaga. He was big. They tried to clean him because they didn't understand black people. They didn't know that was a thing. Like that's all they really knew. So I guess what they wanted was for them to develop some sort of story around him. And I don't know, maybe like infuse a bit of whatever African culture they could have. So I guess I can understand that argument, but I also understand AJ's argument too, where it's like, this is typically the story of a samurai or a ronin, like think about any lone swordsman story you can think of. They never really have personality.
Yeah,
like
they don't.
Their whole thing is like I need to fight for my lord, or my lord has banished me for some reason, or has been killed, or like forced to commit seppuku. So I have no reason to fight. Oh, insert little kid, like maid, like
helpless
innocent maid. Yeah, like some helpless human or some cause worth fighting, and let me go fight for that. So it's like, I mean, in a way, I don't know if it's intentional. He's kind of paying homage to that sort of storyline, because I mean that was the thing. Like all of his personality was in the past, and that's what he was dealing with. That was his demons, and meeting this girl with powers and like having a final quest to help her out. That was the thing that got him off his butt.
Right.
To
and you need
pick up
that.
his sword again.
To make up more story for him, like background and character and stuff like that, that's not, I mean, all of it's loosely based on historical events, but and that's what you get from the flashbacks is the loosely based historical events. But then you're putting him in a situation that's supposed to present a new story arc for this character who technically existed. What can you do while still paying proper homage to the character that you're basing the anime on?
So I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, angel's advocate at this point, to the argument that people online are making. You could have, I suppose, told the story of his life from, arriving on the shores with the Jesuit priests to being in service to Nobunaga, like going from
Yeah,
that to
I guess you
that.
could've.
So it is about him rather than it being about all of that stuff is in his past, and now he needs to find a magical girl to, give him a new lease on life or whatever. I think at the end of the day, though, I wasn't bothered by it. It didn't bother me. Like, he still had most of the screen time. I feel like the story was still told from his POV more so than hers. But I don't know. It didn't bother me. Second question for you guys. What do you think about all the wackiness?
I want to talk about the mercs.
Okay, yeah. They were wacky
so
as
you
fuck.
Yeah. And I hated the robot. So okay, there's a big robot who makes dumb jokes. There's a girl, she's basically just like a goth girl who like uses a scythe or something. I don't even know. She didn't do much. And then you got this like wolf, this lady who turns into like a bear. She's like super giant and ripped. And then you got a guy who's basically the Green Lantern, but like an African shaman version of Green Lantern. He summons these like green mummy construct things and some other stuff. So they did like the cheapest version possible of the last minute development where like the robot and the goth lady are like talking and like, oh, I guess you could say we're friends, and then she gets killed, and then the robot's like, friend, you killed my friend, and we just realized we were friends, and now I'm gonna go, self-destruct in the middle of the big army, which made like no difference. It was just like this pointless thing that happened. So like I think that's what put a bad taste in my mouth at the end of the first episode. It's just like, what is happening?
The mercs were kind of cheap. Like, they were cheap characters put there to basically help when they needed to. I mean, because at the drop of a hat, they're changing sides. Like, oh, this priest is dead. Well, we got paid. Let's help this other guy. Oh, we like you now. We don't need to get paid.
Well, they follow the money. The fact that they switched sides wasn't the fact that they switched sides wasn't weird to me because they were tempted with money. Like,
even when they joined Yasuke, I forgot who said they were going to pay them.
The girl tricked them. She did like some telepathy shit. Like,
okay.
Help us and we're going to pay you all the gold or something.
All the gold.
So they were like, we all heard a voice in our head from the girl, Saki, I think is her name. That's
fine, but that doesn't explain why they all suddenly gave their lives for this cause.
That part is BS. I'm just saying the switching sides makes sense because they're not really switching sides because they were never in league with the preacher. They were just like, preacher's gonna pay us,
right?
But yeah.
Well, then that kind of gets into like the tone. Like the tone kind of clashes for me because when you've got all this. I mean, I feel like a broken record. I feel like I said these same things about Blood of Zeus, but when you have like this like bloody, brutal violence happening with this like kind of bright, cartoony American cartoony style, like he slices a dude down the middle, and then like it shows like it's kind of far away. But, like, he's split in half, and it's just, like, a flat red, like, section is how they drew it. And so, like, you got that happening, and then you got, like, a fucking robot making jokes, and then you got, like, these mercs who were just like, I just like to kill, and I like killing with you, and that's why we're friends. And just, like, I guess the audience is supposed to be, like, young men, 15 to... 30 or something. So you got to have like the gratuitous violence, but I'm like, I just wish they would do like a more serious kind of darker with like a, with a style that goes with that. I don't even need like all the violence. Like it's cool to see stuff like that, like when it's animated well, but it's not required.
Yeah.
But anyway, the mercs, the shaman dude, he kind of did something towards the end, which was fine. Like it was interesting. Like he kind of worked with the other people, and then the bear lady got
hers
got
made
wrecked.
hers made the least sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say
all.
hers is awful.
I just
well,
thought,
no,
like,
the robots
she-
made the least sense, but
No, the robots
No.
made more sense than hers. Robots made way more
No.
sense than hers.
okay.
I don't know. She was like, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, where they're just like, oh, I like killing, so I'm a merc, and like, oh, I'm gonna go see how many of these guys I can kill, and then like, no, then she got wrecked. But,
I think the shamans made the most sense.
Well, yeah, because he stayed alive, and then they paid him in the end.
Right.
That was it.
And he was
His was
Yeah.
fine. He didn't. The one girl. Spoilers at this point, but
done been spoilers.
right.
So.
but now I'm just going to be really explicit with what happened. So yeah, the 4 mercenaries, the girl with the scythe, like you saw her death coming from a mile away. They complete the first wave of the battle, and then she's like sitting on one of the ramparts looking over, because the robot's like, there are more enemies coming. She's like, what are you talking about? We killed everybody. And then you just see her, they show her back, and you're like, all right, she's about to die. I was expecting her to blow up because there's all sorts of crazy shit happening in this world, like magic and missiles and stuff. It's like, not magic missile, but magic, comma, and missiles.
should have been magic missiles. They had the astral plane.
Yeah, they have the astral plane, and they have like mechs, and then like it's all crazy. Telepathy, all sorts of things happening. But yeah, she gets arrowed in the head. Robot dude sees her. It's like, you're my friend, and he gets pissed because like at that, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm just saying they had this friend relationship confirmed, and she just died. So he's probably feeling emotion for the first time, so he goes over there and does kamikaze. I'm not saying it's good, but that makes sense to me. The bear lady, it's like, they're all like, we have to retreat. So like, go back to the stronghold or whatever. And then all of a sudden they get to the door. This bear woman who is a mercenary, who's super brutal and just supposed to be in it for the money. And 2 of her band, 2 of the people that she would have been friends with are already dead. So she has really no connection to everybody else. Decides, you know what? I'm going to stand on the other side of the barricade, close the door, and then fight to the death. It's like, why, though?
You didn't have to do that.
You don't
it
have
really
to.
didn't make a big
you
difference.
can help them by, like, just going in with them and fighting some more.
Right.
Like
That
holding.
made no sense.
Yeah, holding them off is just one of you, and you're not holding off, like, a monster or something like that. It's a whole army.
I mean, it was kind of like doomsday scenario at that point, where like maybe she decided to like do something honorable in this like hopeless situation. Like, oh, I'll give my life for the thrill of like, how many of you can I kill? I hated the robot thing worse than that, but
Well, it seems like the robot was like more coherent, like in the early episodes. And then like towards the end, maybe this was just me, I wasn't paying close enough attention, but like towards the end of the series, he just kind of became like, now I'm robot again. Like, I have no brain, I have no personality. You are friend, I go die now.
Well, yeah, and I mean, my argument isn't which character was better. I'm just saying his actions made more sense than hers. Like, stupid or
yeah,
not,
I guess.
hers was like, there's nobody here that you care about. Like, you're
Yeah, that's true.
you're a mercenary. Like, go get that money. You're not the one. You weren't built up in this show to be the one to have an emotional moment. That's all. And I mean, all of that development of them sucked because it was only 6 episodes long, and most of the time you're not even hanging out with them. Most of the time you're hanging out with them, it's like, hey, preacher, you gave us bad information. And then the preacher's being an asshole saying that they're incompetent. And so they're just back and forth just being smarmy to each other and to him. And then they beat the shit out of Yasuke when they catch him. That's it. There was no development of niceties at all to be gleaned, from me at least. But anyway, AJ, what did you think about the wackiness? Did you answer already?
Yeah, I just thought it
overall.
was. I don't know. By the end, I was okay with it, but I, it just kind of felt. I don't feel like it added anything. Like, you could have
Yeah.
done the same show without any
I
of the
could've-
wackiness. I mean, maybe you would have had to have the magical powers, but you could have easily done something different with equal weight and had the same effect. Like, you didn't have to add these goofy robots and
Yeah, you could have done
giant
without the
mechs
mechs
and-
altogether. They
Right.
were not important at all.
it just felt out of place. Like, it looked cool. I thought the battle with all the armies and the giant mechs coming at, like, that was pretty cool to see. But at the same time, it's like, what am I even watching? Like, is this a ancient Japanese samurai story, or is this a mech story? And it just was really, I don't know. It just felt uneven and out of place.
It's an alternative past, basically.
Yeah, fine,
It's
but like,
fantasy.
Why?
Just cause.
The mechs was like a
Just-
step too far.
just because.
It's like, I am all about like alternate history with mechs. Like, that would be great, but like, do it justice, you know? Like,
Right.
focus on the mechs and like the implications of this like destructive technology. But
Like, monsters and magic and transformations, whatever, that's fine. But the giant robots, I don't know.
yeah, well,
Didn't
it's
do it for
all
me.
it's all kind of all this
It's a
stuff
weird line to
besides
draw.
the mechs. Yeah, the mechs is like
Not really,
a
though.
separate genre.
Because, I mean, if you think of the implications of having a giant mech in ancient Japan, like, why do they have the technology for robots and giant mechs? Why do they not have any of this other technology that could easily help them
That are prerequisites for giant.
that are prerequisites for giant mechs? Yeah, like, hey guys, let's skip the the catapult and the tank and the
Yeah, the
automatic
hydraulic
weapons.
press.
Let's go straight to 2300 and build a giant robot to help
Yeah.
fight an army.
Fair
We
enough.
still carry our fish in big carts, but we got giant mechs. Those mechs should be carrying the fish. Damn it.
Look,
Right.
look.
Anyway,
They only work with war magic, okay?
Okay, then say that. Or say that they're giant mechs, but not really mechanized. They're not made of metal. They're made of mind magic. I don't know. Something to make it make sense.
what did you guys think? This bothered me. The girl, she was basically an American teenager.
Yasuke, aren't you like a swordsman or something?
I didn't think about that. One of the comments I did see on Twitter was to watch it with subtitles, in Japanese with subtitles.
Oh, that's what I should have done.
I didn't even look to see if that was an option.
Yeah, I didn't
It
think to
sure
do that.
was.
Oh man,
She didn't strike me as a
Disappoint.
teenager, so it didn't bother me that much.
really.
She felt like a little girl to me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
just
I'm
like-
wrong, but
I mean, she wasn't like, well, she wasn't like moody like a teenager, like teenagers are usually portrayed, but just the way she talked was just like,
Her character didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I thought she was going to be like a whiny little bratty kid, and she was going to bother me the whole time and annoy me. But ultimately, like, I didn't have a problem with her character, because her character, like, the way she played things out made sense. Like, she didn't seem like, like, she knew she had this power. She knew what she had to do. She wasn't fighting it. And she got it done. I thought she was kind of a badass, to be honest.
yeah. And in the moments where she was like excitable, it was, to me, it felt more like a kid who was excitable. Like something crazy would happen. She'd be like, "Hey, Yasuke, what's this? What's that over there? Have you ever been here? What's this do?" It was more like like just an overexcitable little child that's like way curious and is just amped up from what's happening, rather than like, I don't know, a teenage valley girl. That was my read on it. Yeah, she didn't bother me at all. I actually liked the voice actor that did her voice. So
fair enough.
Think you're alone on this one, Alan.
Also, something about the way they drew her face sometimes reminded me of Pepe the Frog. I don't know why, but it was like sometimes she looked like normal, and other times she just looked like something was just off about it, and it just made me think of Pepe.
That's strange.
It is strange. Yeah,
You might have
I
to
don't
find
know
a
why.
screen. You might have to find a screenshot for me.
I could.
You know what's interesting about the voice actress? Her name's Maya Tanida, and this is basically the first thing she's done. She had a cameo in Jessica Jones, and then she did the voice of Willow in Nella the Princess Knight, which is it's a Nickelodeon show. I don't know. I never heard of that, never seen it, but then like this is her third credit.
How old
as
is she?
Yasuke.
Up and coming.
How old is she? I don't know. Creeper, let me look that up for you. I'm just kidding.
I
it
mean,
does not.
maybe she's young. I'm just curious to see if she's actually a kid or if
She breaking into the game.
I'm curious to see if
She's
she's
young.
a child or if she's like a older person playing a child.
She looks like a young lady.
Okay.
I don't know. The only thing in her profile on IMDb is that she's 5'1". That's it.
That's weird.
Wow. Yeah, that's creepy. I didn't care about that.
Yeah, that's pretty short. I gotta say, you're short, lady.
Not that tall. Ain't even that tall.
Yeah. Are you that tall
Did
in real life?
I want to talk about the astral plane a little bit because
Okay.
at that point it was kind of like a curveball. I don't know. I was just like at that point I was just like fuck it. All right, astral plane. Why not? I mean, it wasn't. They didn't really telegraph it like at all.
No.
It was just like you got powers, and they don't explain like where the power comes from. It's just there. And then it's just like, all right, we're going to the astral plane now. And like, I don't know, because like for us, like we're nerds, like we play D&D and stuff. Like I feel like not everybody knows what the astral plane is. And if you just say you just come out with astral plane out of nowhere, some people are just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm trying to think because I've heard of the astral plane enough in pop culture, and I mean in recent history, the most prevalent example of the astral plane being exhibited is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So,
But like they didn't even give like, oh, this is a world of like your spirit and it's not physical. It's all in your mind. Like I don't even think I guess they kind of explained it later.
I don't.
He kind of did when
Go ahead.
he told her to do it. It's like, oh, separate yourself from XYZ body, whatever he said. The doctor, that is, to her.
I think it's understood that it's a different plane of existence. I don't know if you need to have a D&D knowledge of what the astral plane is.
No, it just felt like kind of a weird turn for me.
I guess for me, it was just another thing. Just one more.
Well, at that point, it was. But I was just like, are we really? We're really doing this? Okay, like why not? And it was fun.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of stuff in these 6 episodes.
Yeah,
There's a lot
Did
of
you guys-
world happening.
Did you guys catch the little? I don't know if this is on purpose, but the daimyo is talking about. I don't even remember. Does she have a name? The big bad.
Yeah.
Is she just the daimyo.
Oh, she is just the daimyo, I think.
Okay, so she says she's talking about, oh, this is your first time here, but I've spent hundreds of years in the astral plane. And then she says, molded by it.
I did catch
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I was
did
like,
catch
no,
that.
they didn't. They did not just go Bane, full
Yeah.
Bane in the astral plane.
Yep, it's true. I
wrote
forgot
it
about
down,
that.
and I wanted to ask you guys about it because I got weak.
That's hilarious. Completely.
There were a few lines that were real corny.
Yeah,
One was, I think it was the tall, crazy lady. Gosh, what was she? Kind of like Spider Lady. Yasuke kills all her henchmen, and she's like, "You did me a favor. It was the end of the month, and they wanted to get paid."
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's
really?
just this
Come
kind of
on.
stuff where like, yeah, it's like take your shit seriously. It's like, or like make up your mind, because like you got like brutal dark stuff happening, and then you got like bad jokes, and then you got like robots with one-liners, and it's just like,
Because the context of that line is like she's counting her payroll, like, oh, now I get 100 yen or whatever the hell it was back then in my pocket extra, so I can hire more mercenaries. Like, what? Why is that a thing that now the viewer is considering after hearing that line?
Well,
Like,
it's
oh,
just
she's
a bad. It's just a bad.
Gotta
joke.
balance
bad
budgets and shit.
filler
Like,
dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a. It's like a. It's not even a one-liner. It's not a one-liner. It's not a joke. It's supposed to be a quip, but it's not very quippy. It's
Yeah, it's just, and then like
It's
they
corny.
get,
It's a
they
stretch.
they get into cliche stuff like where he's trying to help her, resist in the astral plane, and he's like, "Free your mind," and it's just like, okay, how many times has the fucking mentor told a pupil to free their mind? And like, not that I expect like something like this to break the mold or have like amazing writing, but it's just like, come on.
right.
Can we not have?
If you have
can we
an
be
American
aware?
writer who is heading this thing, you need to have some better dialogue. Like, if you're translating from Japanese to English and you got some bad dialogue, okay, that's understandable. But you're producing this thing and you speak the language, like, just have some better non-corny lines.
I mean, there are plenty of English-speaking productions on
Yeah,
this
I
side of
know,
the
but-
ocean.
No,
that
there's
have-
plenty of bad writing out there. I mean, yeah, what can you do?
I mean, it doesn't like detract from the show a whole lot, but every once in a while it's just like shake your head. You got any other comments there, Marcus?
I don't. I hit everything, I
man.
believe.
Dang.
Unless you have a question specifically for me.
Oh, I meant like, do you have any more YouTube comments?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh,
Nope. Just a couple
that's
points.
too bad.
he's out of comments. All of the comments are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta
I
watch
didn't,
Jujutsu Kaisen now. I gotta watch some more of that to compare and contrast.
You do.
I didn't
'Cause that show
I
was
didn't
great.
watch, or I didn't check a Twitterverse for comments on Yasuke too much, so I don't have a lot to go by. Just my real quick search right here is good anime with dope ass music. That's mostly true. So yeah, I don't not recommend this show. I think if you're into like an old style samurai show,
I don't know if I would say that this
No.
is it.
yeah, you're right. Okay,
It's a few
fair enough.
steps south of that, but
It ain't no Kenshin.
I do want to say Lakeith Stanfield does the voice of Yasuke. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. I like Lakeith Stanfield a lot. If you don't know who he is kind of famous for being in the show Atlanta that Donald Glover created. He was in Sorry to Bother You, which was a really crazy movie. He was in Get Out. He was the guy that says Get Out in Get Out. He's a really good actor. He's going to be doing lots of things soon.
I did not know that. I actually had never heard of him before this show, but I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good guy. Good actor. I mean,
Yeah,
he could
he
be a
did,
piece of shit. I don't know, but he's a good actor.
great guy. I like his work. He's a good actor. It makes him a good person.
Some people do be assholes, but be good at their jobs.
Alec
So
Baldwin.
you do recommend it, AJ, or not?
I do, yeah. It's not for everyone. I would say, see, I don't like recommending power through the show to get to the good part. The first half of the series it's only 6 episodes, so you're not like spending hours and hours and hours and hours. It does have some redeeming qualities towards the end, but if you're totally not into it after like the first 2 or 3 episodes, then you're probably not going to like it. But it does get better. So if you're kind of on the edge, like I say, stick it out to the end. And, I think by the end, it's overall a good show.
Alan,
Yeah,
what do you
I'll
say?
agree. I'll agree with that. I almost I feel like I engage more with stuff that isn't perfect, or isn't super good. Like we watched, we had things to say about Demon Slayer, but when you're watching something like that, it's like, this is amazing. You're not necessarily giving it the most critical view. But anyway, so it's interesting to watch this with the critical eye. But even if you're not, I think it's entertaining enough. Worth your time if you like sword fights and samurai with some magic mixed in. Yeah, and a pretty good art style.
I don't know about recommending this one because I think of the 3 of us, I don't know if I enjoyed it the least, but I probably have the least gripes with it, it seems like. But that being the case, I think it's because I didn't really take the show that seriously. I had no expectations. It did a lot of weird things that just kept my attention. It just felt different than so many other things that I had watched. And then the music was so freaking good that I'm just like, hey, I'm enjoying this. This is just fun for me to sit here and watch this. So, I don't really know if I can recommend it or not just because it's so many people sour on it so bad. So I guess I'll just say, if you're curious, watch the first episode and expect to just see a bunch of randomness. And if that randomness mixed with a good soundtrack is something that you like, then keep watching it. It's only 6 episodes and maybe you'll enjoy it. On a final note, I'm obsessed with the opening and the ending. I love them. When I was watching through the show, they were both just stuck in my head for days the whole time. I love them both so much.
Yeah.
Flying
Lotus, Yasuke, the soundtrack. Go listen and be happy. You're welcome.
And if you like listening, listen to this show more and give us...
Hey there, listener. Do you like listening to things? Do you have ears?
How are those ears being filled?
And low
Hopefully
expectations?
With the sweet pipes of Broke Otaku Podcast. Only Broke Otaku Podcast gives you the fresh ear-filled waves that you desire as a human. So, like it on...
We produce sound waves with our vocal cords.
Like it on the
listening
internet,
pleasure.
The internet tunes. Go to internettunes.com.
Is that what the I stands for?
What else would it stand for?
I can't think of a single thing.
I don't think that's what that stands for.
How not? Internet
I don't
tunes.
think iMac is Internet Mac.
It connects to the internet,
not
don't
in
it?
that case, but...
iPod, Internet Pod, connects
I
to
think
the internet.
the I stands for the same thing as the I in iRobot.
Internet
no.
robot.
They ripping off of Asimov, though?
I don't know, maybe.
No, it doesn't, because
You just
it's
put I in front of shit to personalize it. That's all that is.
It's I, comma, robot.
Yeah.
Not the
Capital
movie.
I.
Not the
As
movie
in,
with Will Smith.
Myself, I, a robot.
I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking about the movie.
Is the movie titled I, Robot differently?
Yes, it's just I, Robot. It does not have a comma in it.
Is it lowercase
Shut
I
up,
like
really?
all the Apple garbage?
No,
Yes.
you're thinking of I, Robot vacuums.
Boo.
No, I'm not, you dick.
He might be. I think the
I-
Will Smith movie was. I'm checking.
Nah, dog.
Check it.
I,
Check it now.
Robot.
I, comma, robot.
The movie? No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't trust you. You making up
You
shit.
shouldn't, but you should. But you should believe me still. You shouldn't trust me, but you should. Believe
I actually legit cannot find iRobot.
me. Sure you can. No, not Bridget Moynihan. Dang it.
Oh, there it is. 2004. I, comma, robot.
It don't say.
No.
It don't
It is
have a comma
okay.
on the cover art. Oh fuck, it does.
Yeah, it
God
does. It's
damn
tiny,
it.
but it is a lowercase I.
God
So
damn it.
it's understandable why you would get that wrong.
That's some old bullshit.
They did that just to trick you 20 years
Man.
later.
Man, I
Anyway,
I ain't
all that
never
is to
buying
say,
that movie.
Go to
Listen
iapplerobot.com.
the podcast. You should leave a like and a review.
Yeah, do those things. I don't think anyone does that, but you should. 'Cause
Nobody
you're
does
special.
that, but we have to keep asking because it's our job when you do these things.
Second worst on the internet,
You could have listened to the worst podcast on the internet,
but
the
you
worst
chose
anime
us.
podcast, but you didn't. You decided that you deserve better. You deserve slightly better. And we thank you for expecting more of yourself and giving yourself better. So
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
for being a friend.
Travel
Down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a
If you-
friend and a confidant.
How does everybody know that song?
Cause back in the day when there was only 3 TV shows,
Because there weren't a bajillion channels and everybody was watching the Golden Girls. It was
Who would
the
have thought a sitcom with a
Yes.
bunch of old ladies, bunch of horny old ladies would be...
only one of them
funny.
was horny. Blanche was only whore, or was it Blanche?
That's not true. At least 2 of them were mostly horny. And they all had sex.
No. I don't know if they all did, but
No,
well, let's
the
not get into
old,
that.
the old
Sophia
one
maybe
didn't.
not.
It was just
I don't know.
Blanche,
Sophia was not active.
No, Dorothy was all active too.
or was it?
She was all trying to get
She
dudes.
had a dating life. She wasn't like.
Was Dorothy the mannish
wasn't
one?
all over
Which
town.
one was the mannish
Yes.
one? Okay.
The mannish one? Anyway, we're done.
We're done.
That's it.
You know what to do.
We've
Go find
overstayed
the
our
things.
welcome in your ear holes. So
Google
we will
Brokotaku,
now
you'll find all
be
the shit you gotta find. And then like it
scuttling
all.
away now. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Well.